See that? See that? What is that? Jesus on a skateboard? What is that? You see all kind of things down here in Austin. People punching the air. We're at Lady Bird Bridge, by the way. What was that? Get it. Looked like Jesus on a skateboard to me. He walks on water. He could be able to get in Jesus surf. Anyway, we're hanging out at Lady Bird Bridge in Austin, Texas. What was that? You think? It doesn't matter. We'll leave it alone. Thanks for watching the Maurice Brown Show. Yeah! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on kchftv.org out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We have a sponsor for the Maurice Brown Show brought to you by Magnos Dentistry, all the way from Belo Horizonte, Brazil, in the capital of the state of Brazil. And Minas Gerais, I mean to say. And we welcome to the show, as I say all of that, my main man, Antoine, real Stewart. What's up, Stu?
What's going on, Mo? How's everything?
Man, everything is great. Everything is great. Just welcoming a new sponsor to the show, Magnos Dentistry out of Brazil. By the way, and before we get started, just to let people know what the numbers are for Americans who visit Brazil, a significant increase from 2021 from 132,000 to 728,000 Americans. Why? Because growing dental tourism in the region is the reason. We're talking about Mexico, Costa Rica, Brazil, all having double-digit increases because of the lower dental cost, the lower health cost. Many Americans are going abroad and to South America for healthcare. And Magnos Dentistry is bringing you the Maurice Brown Show, the NFL edition, live to you right now. Stu, let's talk about some NFL action. Okay?
Let's go.
Let's do this because we're going to start out with your boys with a hefty win over the Atlanta Falcons. Everybody thought Atlanta was on the come up, and the 49ers put that to bed real quick. I think your boy Christian McCaffrey had over 220 yards of total offense. Tell us a little bit about that ball game.
Yeah, man, it definitely was a hard-fought game. Going into the game, from what I heard, Kyle Shanahan was preaching to the team, this is going to be a Christian McCaffrey type game, meaning it's going to be ground and pound. We're going to be trying to control the clock management. One of those physical type of games that where if you're facing a team that's a little bit more finesse, this is where you get a chance to punch them in the mouth to bring them down to your level. Great team. Hats off to Atlanta. You know, they were coming off of a big win over Buffalo Bills. So we can't really say they're not there. It's just that you fought a hungry dog that you weren't ready for. And at their house, you know, prime time. And we were locked in. We were ready. I believe that Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh did a great job at coaching. We outcoached the Atlanta Falcons, and our team showed that we had the bigger will to win that game. And we knew what type of game we were going to be in. And we're no strangers to this. You know, since Kyle has been there, we've been in the thick of things, and we know what it is to have the injury bug, because since he's been there, we've had the injury bug. We've had to overcome these obstacles year in and year out, so it's nothing new to us. And I'm just thankful we were able to accomplish that this game.
So a big shout out to our sponsor, Bernardo Magno out of Brazil. To the band, maybe. Thanks for joining us and being a part of the show. One of the things too right now in the NFL, we have teams that we thought were going to be super powerful that are not doing well at all. And one of those teams are the Baltimore Ravens, sitting at I think 1-5 right now. Their star quarterback, Lamar Jackson's not even expected to come back for Week 8, and they're having to go with Cooper Rush. And I guess my question to you, Stu, as we talk about the Ravens, are they in danger of a lost season?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No matter if you're in the NFC or AFC, every win counts, every loss counts. We know how the playoff thing works, depending on your division and all that. And they're in a tough division. We're used to seeing consistency in the winning column with the Ravens. We're used to seeing a lot of things, but also we're used to seeing Lamar Jackson on the field. I think this adds to his MVP type profile and why he really is the MVP, because his team is not getting it done without him. And it seems like Harbaugh has lost the locker room. So I think definitely they're on the verge of a lost season. Depending on when Lamar comes back, it may not even be worth putting him back out there, because I know he's probably not going to be 100%. Most guys are playing hurt with something. It's just the amount of pain and depending on what the injury is that you're able to play with these injuries. So if they don't lose a game, if they don't win a game until Lamar comes back, I may hold him out the whole year. There's no point of getting Lamar out there hurt just to play when it's a lost cause in a lost season.
So we were talking last week, a couple of weeks ago, about some of the top teams in the NFL, one of which you were not too keen on, and it was the Indianapolis Colts. And they did a number on the Chargers. Let's be flat out honest. It was in Los Angeles. And I said, okay, I think we may be looking at the real deal. I have to ask you again, are the Colts as good as their record, or are the Chargers simply not, in the words of Dennis Green, not who we thought they were?
I think, if I'm honest, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Looking at the Los Angeles Chargers this year, they haven't been what we were expecting them to be. They're not the worst team. They're a decent team, but they're not as good as we were expecting. We're not getting great quarterback play from that quarterback room. And as a team, they're losing these games. But I will say this, as far as the Colts are concerned, I will give them their props, because although I don't believe the Chargers to be as great as we would have thought, they are winning. And it's hard to win in this league. And they're showing that why you had it correct, they should be on the list. And we have to see week in and week out, are they able to maintain this level of play when they start facing harder teams, how they're able to cope with that play. So, but right now, they're doing what they're supposed to do. If a team is worse than you, you're supposed to win, and they're doing exactly that. So hats off to the Colts. Keep doing what you're doing, but I do have my eyes on you, because deep down inside, I don't think you are who you're showing right now.
I think one of the biggest additives for the Colts is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones together in New York, they were pretty good. And the Giants, like idiots, got rid of the reason the Giants were good. And that guy is sent to the Eagles and they win the Super Bowl. And so Jonathan Taylor is kind of showing that Daniel Jones isn't a bum. I don't think he's elite, but he's a good quarterback. You just got to, every quarterback appreciates a good running game. And Jonathan Taylor, I think, is playing at the top of his game. Matter of fact, this may be the best season that he's had since he's been in the league. Would you agree with that?
Oh, most definitely. Of course, I would have to look at the numbers to see, but definitely he's balling, man. And the Colts have a pretty good team, good players on that roster. We just got to see when they start facing the upper echelons of teams in the NFL, how they really stack up. But from what I've seen, they're showing that they can match up well, because we all know, especially when it gets cold, the things that you're going to need a running game. You're going to need a defense. You're going to
Yes.
need a pass rush. And your quarterback needs to make the plays that are available and there for him to make, and not turn over the football. And these are the things they're showing that they're able to do. So they may be just who they're showing they are. We have to see how it stacks up as the season progresses. But that's all. I can't say anything bad about the Colts. They're beating the teams that are in front of them, which you're supposed to do, which a lot of teams are not doing. A lot of
Right.
teams are not winning the games that we saw them winning this year. And we have a lot of 5-2 teams. It's a lot of. I'm curious to see what teams separate themselves from the pack, especially on the upper echelons of teams that are at that 5-2 mark. There are quite a few of them out there. So I'm curious to see how this thing shapes out.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Maurice Brown Show NFL edition, brought to you by Magnos Dentistry out of Belo Horizonte, Brazil. And for all Americans that travel abroad, that's the place to go if you want to get your teeth put in order at a very reasonable price. It's going to be a lot better than you're going to find in the United States. We're talking with my main man, Antoine Real Stewart. We're breaking down the NFL. One of the things also that I wanted to talk about as far as dropping off is C.J. Stroud. You're looking at the Houston Texans. You're looking at DeMeco Ryans, and they're sitting there at 2-5. And you wonder if C.J. was one of those guys where you kind of look at him and you go, okay, well, maybe he was a one-hit wonder. And I want to ask you that very question. Was C.J. Stroud a one-hit wonder, or are the Texans simply a poor team?
I don't think he's a one-hit wonder. You don't have a season. It's not like he had a game or two. He had a season. You don't have a season like that as a one-hit wonder. He's shown he could play at an elite level. The name of the game is consistency. And when pieces change and your protection changes, and when your wide receiver room changes and things change, you have to be able to maintain that level of play, maintain that level of coaching. Adjustments need to be made, and they have to figure it out. DeMeco's my guy, and he's a defensive coach. I know they have a new offensive coordinator this year, and they have to really lock down as a team and figure out what's going on. Of course, there are things that CJ needs to clean up. He needs to clean up holding on to the ball. He needs to learn how to be a little bit more of a check down Charlie. Hey, man, get that ball to your playmakers in space and let them do their thing. I know he's looking for that deep ball all the time, but teams know they know the scouting report on you. They're trying to take certain things away. So whatever they're trying to take away, that means something else is open. The underneath throws are open. The underneath routes are open. And that's where coaching and game plan and having a great offensive coordinator and understanding what the defense is trying to do so you can match that with your best offensive matchups. And that's what they got to figure out. It really boils down to coaching and cleaning up some things from his mechanics, and also not letting that big play monkey get it off his back. Like, look, man, take what the defense is giving you. If they're deep, get the underneath route off. Get a quick dump to a running back or a slant or a curl or something like that. Let some guys get the ball in space. Let them see what they can do. Get that running game working. All of these things will help out with your deep passing game because it's going to make the safeties and the cornerbacks have to come up. And as they come up, that's when you can take your chances. But this is football 101. They're in the National Football League for a reason. They have to figure this out. I think CJ is a talented quarterback. And, of course, as we see with Jones and different quarterbacks, they go to different places, and we're like, wow, where was this at? It depends on the culture. Depends on the coaches. Depends on the scheme. Are they putting him in the best situation to succeed and win? Are they looking at, maximizing his strengths and weaknesses? Are they looking at how defenses are attacking them week in and week out and taking advantage of that? Okay, you're up. we're going to run the ball. We're going to do this short routes. They come up, we're going to hit them with the play action. You got to play these games, and you got to keep making adjustments consistently. That's the name of the game, because the other team on the other side of the ball, they're studying just as hard to beat you. So they got to figure this thing out. They got a talented guy back there. They just got to figure out how to use him. And he has to do a better job at not being hit to his own detriment and playing and taking advantage of what the defense is giving him.
This is the Maurice Brown Show, NFL edition, and you're also watching this on kchftv.org out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, talking with Antoine Real Stewart. I think that when you're a quarterback in the NFL and you're throwing that rock behind a very poor offensive line, C.J. Stroud has not been getting good protection going back to last season. And the ball's got to come out quick. You got 1001, 1002, 1003. If the rock isn't gone by then, you've got to flush the pocket and just make a decision whether or not you're just going to let it fly, get rid of it, or go, 4 or 5 yards and slide. But you don't have a lot of time to debate back there. That ball has got to come out of there quickly, particularly when you don't have a good line. And CJ's holding it too long. And he's just holding the ball too long. You've got to get the ball out. They're coming after you, and a lot of guys are suffering because of that. Know the playbook. Tom Brady was probably the slowest of foot athlete you'll ever run into. No, I take that back. Peyton Manning was, then Tom. But those two were probably the best quarterbacks you've ever seen because they knew the offense. You've got to be great with your pre-snap read. You've got to move quickly. You've got to know what the defense at least accurately anticipate what they're going to do and get the ball out. Even if you're just going to throw it out of bounds, just throw it out of bounds. Get the ball out, and CJ holds it too long. And I hope that D'Amico and the Texans can get it together. Got a very good team. They're just coming up on the losing end. Last night, we watched the Detroit Lions destroy the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that many felt and probably still feel that they have a great shot at getting to the Super Bowl. But they were destroyed last night. I mean, the Lions were not playing around. 24-9 was the final score. It actually could have been worse, in my opinion. So it leads me to this question for you, Stu. Have the Lions, after being destroyed by Green Bay in week 1, have they now at 5-2 reasserted their dominance as the team to beat in the NFC?
I mean, absolutely. They are one of the teams to beat. They've bounced back. There are a lot of 5-2 teams out there. It's kind of eerie when you look at it. There are a lot of, like in my division alone, we have 3 5-2 teams.
Yes.
So, but the Lions are scary. We know that. The talent they have on both sides of the ball, the playmaking, the heart of that team, and how they play so fast, and the playmakers they have, they're a scary team regardless. And definitely a team that it's going to be tough. Come postseason, they got to figure out, they got to get over that hurdle. But the postseason hurdle, regular season, man, they're phenomenal. They got to figure out how to win when it matters the most in the postseason. But as of right now, the Lions are a tough team to beat, along with all the other 5-2 teams out there. That's why you got to love the football NFL. This is a week in, week out league. Any given Sunday, anybody can be beat, and you have to maintain that consistency. What have you done for me lately, as the song says? It's not about last week. You could have been world beaters last week, and you can get your butts kicked the next week. So you got to keep that consistency, and it's tough. So many injuries and people battling this and that, and coaching and work, figuring out how to make the adjustments necessary week in and week out is what it really boils down to.
So we're going to switch gears and look at the NFL power rankings up to this point. And a few things have changed. It's amazing how quickly things can change. But in the NFC, let's start out with the Power 5 there. I've got them listed. I got the Eagles back on top, followed by the juggernaut Lions that I just mentioned, the aforementioned Detroit Lions. And I got my Green Bay Packers at 3, sitting there at 4-1-1, followed by the Seahawks, who are in your division, and the 49ers. Your opinion of this list?
I got a big question.
Yeah.
How did the 49ers fall to 5 and we won? We beat the Seahawks. Seahawks haven't beaten us. The Packers, they jumped all the way up from last week.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it. I honestly feel like as of right now, I would definitely put the 49ers in front of the Seahawks. I would definitely, they haven't beaten us. And the 49ers are the top of the division right now. I'm not mad with the Packers. We haven't faced them yet. A lot of great teams, as I mentioned earlier. You can't really be mad at these. Are all 5. Packers are 5-2 as well, right?
4-1-1.
Okay, yeah. These teams are all doing their thing, so you can't really be mad at it. But the one thing for sure I would change, I would put the 49ers in front of the Seahawks because we played them and beat them.
The only reason, I can't argue with that. I could flip them very easily. I picked the 49ers at 5 only because of the injuries. Now they look impressive, and it's scary to think what they're going to do because they're going to get some of these people back, and they're sitting there at 5-2. But I just think that they have some. There's some things about them versus Seattle. When they, the Seahawks, to me, with Sam Darnold, I got to be honest with you, I didn't think Sam Darnold's performance was real with the Vikings last year, and he's simply playing at the same level, and the Seahawks are not a team to be fooled with, to me. I think Seattle is showing that they're here to stay. The 5-2 is not a fluke. And yes, the 49ers did beat them earlier in the year when they had people that weren't injured, so I think if they played right now, it would be a great game to watch. Plus, it's a division game. It's just going to be a back alley brawl anyway. But I just kind of like what I'm seeing from Seattle right now more than the 49ers right now because we got a lot of football left to play. I just think that the 49ers are dealing with a lot of injuries. That's my reasoning on that. But, you look at the Eagles and the Lions, I mean, they look like they're the cream of the NFC right now. No question about it. Although the Eagles could have lost to the Vikings. I mean, I think J.J. Hockenson was robbed of a touchdown in that ball game, and it could have gone Minnesota's way. But that being said, I'm going to go with that 5. But I, again, could agree with you with flipping the 49ers and the Seahawks. Let's go to the AFC. I've got the Chiefs at number 1, followed by the Colts, Denver, New England, and Buffalo at 5. Your opinion of this list?
That's interesting. There's so many great teams that are emerging. Can't really be mad at anything. The Chiefs, they're back to playing, winning football. Even though the Las Vegas Raiders are not world beaters by any shape or form of the word, but they did what you're supposed to do. Yes. You beat a team down like that's not supposed to be on the field with you, and they did just that. As we mentioned earlier, the Colts are emerging and they're being consistent. So we really have to pay attention to them and see that, hey, maybe they are who they say they are. The Broncos, that defense is for real. And they're getting great quarterback play, by them. And that the coach has them playing very well as a team and as an organization. They got quite a few 49er players on that, former 49er players on that side of the ball. The Pats are there in the thick of things too. They're playing great complementary football right now. And we know Buffalo, they got to bounce back. They had a bye week this week. They coming off of the loss of Atlanta. They got to get back in the shake things and play the type style of football that we're accustomed to them playing. So I can't really be mad at this list right now. A lot of teams are kind of bunched together, and we'll see who starts breaking away from the pack as the season progresses.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Maurice Brown Show on kchftv.org out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, as well as Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Also, the Maurice Brown Show now is being brought to you from Magnos Dentistry out of Belo Horizonte, Brazil. And that's the capital of the state of Minas Gerais in Brazil. And Americans traveling abroad, Magnos Dentistry is the way to go to save yourself a buck or two. And I don't mean just a buck or two. You know what I mean. Anyway, that being said, you look at the AFC Power Five here again. I think the Chiefs now are becoming that team that we thought, again, to use a quote from Dennis Green, the team we thought they were. And with Rashid Rice coming back and guys getting healthier. And again, beating the Raiders 31-0. Hey, the Raiders aren't going anywhere. I think a lot of the teams have decided, as Antonio Pierce said when he was there, have decided to make business decisions. So, I mean, but 31-0 is 31-0. Kind of scary. The Colts slapping the Chargers around in Los Angeles, kind of scary. Denver coming back from 33 points down in the fourth quarter to win, kind of scary. And then you look at the Patriots with Drake May. I don't think they beat any world beaters, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. Steady winning at 5-2. And I just look at Buffalo and they're underwhelming. They're not doing what we expected them to do. And they're not winning pretty when they do win. They struggled with the Saints about 3 weeks ago. And you just look at them, and they've been beaten by New England this year. And so you just kind of look at Buffalo and you wonder, if they're going to reassert themselves as the team, again, to quote Dennis Green, that we thought they were. Right now, they are not looking good, particularly losing to Atlanta, I would have to say, before the bye. Like, that's a game that you have to win if you're the Buffalo Bills. Because I think we're starting to see the Atlanta Falcons are not world beaters. And so I don't know. But that's kind of how I feel about that list. I would like to take a look at what's going on with our Power 10 of the NFL. And I've got them listed as follows. If I could just get that on the screen, the Power 10, I got the Chiefs, man, at number 1 in the NFL. And then I got discard that list because that list came out. It did come out right. It kind of got joggled when I put it on the screen.
I like that list. Keep that list just like that.
What's that?
I like that list. You keep it just like that.
Do you really?
I just see the 49ers are kind of up there, so I'm like, yeah, I like that list.
Well, the actual list, it got joggled around. The actual list that I had put together had the Chiefs at number 1, followed by the Eagles, Colts, Lions, and Broncos. And then I had the Packers and 49ers, Seahawks, and actually put the Seahawks after San Francisco in the top 10. And then
what are the Colts' record?
What's that?
What are the Colts' record?
6-1.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. There's. I got to be honest with you. After the beatdown they put on the Chargers in Los Angeles, I said, you know what? We're gonna have to start giving the Colts some love.
Yeah.
We just gonna have to do it. We don't want to believe in Daniel Jones. Okay, I'm just gonna be on. Hey, what's up? That's my cousin Wilson. Hey, Ice. What's up, Wilson? But anyway, the bottom line is the Colts are doing their thing, man. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is playing like Saquon Barkley for Daniel Jones. And he doesn't have to do very much. I mean, the pass is set up beautifully. He's not a bum. I think we all wanted to write Daniel Jones off as a bum. He's not. He's a decent QB. He's a decent to good quarterback. I'll stop there. I'm not going to give him the elite status. But yeah, he can win some ball games for you. You don't want to just discard him.
I do have a statement to make. Drew Brees said it perfectly from a guy who's won a Super Bowl, played this game at an extremely high level, and is one of the most consistent guys out there. Not the biggest guy, everything that the 6'5", the 6'6" quarterbacks with the arm swing and all.
Right.
He wasn't none of that, and he played at a high level. And he said this. He said, "Listen," he said, "from the NFL, from the fans to the media to everything, you're putting too much pressure on these quarterbacks too soon." He said, "You really need 50 quality starts to really see what you got at quarterback." And that's 3 seasons. He said that's always been like that, but now the climate has kind of changed and we're wanting to see 1 or 2. He said there's so many things that go into being successful in this league. Being in the right building, organization. You could be at the Jets, you could be at the Browns. We see these dysfunctional organizations, right? Having the right coaching staff, having the right playmakers, having losing your pride, having a system that says, look, we're going to feature our guy and do what he does best instead of you have to play to my system. No, create a system around your guy. If this is your quarterback, you should be creating around him, not forcing him to be what you want him to be or play in the style you want him to play. And I was like, man, he's absolutely right, man. We write these quarterbacks off too soon, and that goes for Danny Dimes. That goes for all these quarterbacks and what's going on in all these organizations right now. It's these quarterbacks, we've seen them on their second or third team, and they're having success, and we're like, okay, where was this then? And then we have to look back at, wow, he was on the Giants though, or he was in Carolina, or this quarterback was here. And this is a horrible organization who had not the best coaches and the best game plan for these guys to succeed, especially early out when, like the Trent Richardsons and all these quarterbacks, they can be fixed. The talent we saw in college, a lot of times they can translate over to the National Football League. They just got to bring it out of them. A lot of these teams are getting smart and saying, if we're drafting a quarterback, if we can get his number 1 receiver from college, let's go do that. If we can get that offensive coordinator, if he's available from college, let's go do that. Let's put a game plan around him that he's already consistent at and good at. And of course, you're going to throw in the nuances that come in the league, more under center plays, the cadences and different things that come with that. The game speed is much faster. These are things that they pick up. But, I think we've been putting a lot of pressure on these young quarterbacks. And we finding out that, as they get more mature and learning more in the league and they get in better situations due to poor play, this team don't want you. Now you go to a better team and you end up succeeding. And we've been seeing that throughout this league. And we've been seeing that recently as the style has changed, because if you go back and you look at Peyton Manning's first 3 years, they were horrible. A lot of picks, a lot of bad play, but he had his shot and his chance to develop. And he's one of the greatest of all time, and I think that we have to dial it down a little bit and be a little bit more patient. I know we live in a microwave society. People want things quick, but I think that if we see flashes of greatness in quarterbacks, we have to give them a chance to be who they are. And hopefully, if you're blessed, you're able to go to a decent organization who's going to really put you in the best position to win, which we've seen what happens in these other organizations. Just a quick thing. Look at Cleveland. Joe Flacco's 40. He's not a world beater. He can still push the ball down the field. He goes to another team in the same year, and they beat up on the Steelers, who have a great defense. And, he's putting up numbers like, who is Joe Flacco? And that goes to show you the weapons, and having the weapons and having the game plan and having a coach and having a little time in the pocket, what a decent quarterback can do. And a lot of these quarterbacks don't have that, and it beats them down. They get shell shocked. They're seeing ghosts. It messes with their psyche. And you have to learn how to fix those issues if you decide, like, hey, We got this quarterback. Let's take a chance on him. He has talent. He was just in a bad organization and in a bad situation. We can bring the best out of him. And I think that that's what we're seeing now. And from the media standpoint, from the fan standpoint, and the NFL as a whole, I think we need to dial it back a little bit on these young guys and actually look at the whole picture, the big picture, and see from an organizational standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, from the receivers to the O-line, different things that we can point like, wow, I see what he's struggling with, and I think that's big, man. Drew Brees said that. I kind of paraphrased a lot of it, but I thought that was a big thing to add to the puzzle.
It all depends on the organization that young quarterback is going to. You have to have a system set up to properly teach a young guy with talent. As you accurately stated, a lot of these guys are coming in with tremendous talent. They just need someone to guide them and introduce them to the NFL action versus college. NFL is a lot faster. So if the system's good, you can bring in a young guy. And I give you a great example, Bo Nix in Denver. I mean, Sean Payton is a guru. He knows how to bring a young quarterback along. There are organizations that knows how to bring young quarterbacks along. The Green Bay Packers have a way of bringing. Green Bay Packers' philosophy is you're not going to see the field. You're going to watch for a year or two, maybe even 3, as Aaron Rodgers watched Brett Favre, as Jordan Love watched Aaron Rodgers. So you have that way of going about it. And then you have, disasters where, we thought Sam Darnold was a flat out bum. And then all of a sudden you got with my man in Minnesota, Greg O'Connell, who knows how to bring a quarterback along. And so it all depends where you land. And you look at Cam Ward in Tennessee and you fear that his career might end up being ruined if they don't get someone in there that can guide him, or he just ends up being traded away to another organization that knows how to, train and develop a young quarterback. So to your point, I agree totally. We're throwing a lot of these young guys away before they've been given a real shot at showing what they can do. So you make a great point there. Let's look at Thursday Night Football. We've got the Minnesota Vikings and the Rams at 8:00. And speaking of young quarterbacks, J.J. McCarthy, who's being replaced right now by Carson Wentz, who actually I think has done a pretty good job. They're 3-4 overall, and I think they have a shot at going into Los Angeles and winning the ball game, because the Rams, I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm not going to say they got to go in there and beat the Rams, but the Rams have a tendency sometimes to check out on offense. What's your opinion of this game?
Man, I'm rooting for the Vikings, of course. I want the Rams to take an L. They're right on our backs in the NFC West. But if I had to favor who would win, definitely the Rams. Definitely, I'm going with the vet, Matthew Stafford over there. With the talent and the coaching staff he has around him, and one of the best wide receivers in the game over there. I got to favor the Rams, but I'm hoping that Minnesota will give them a great fight and hopefully pull off an upset.
Well, they're not the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're not Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Okay, the Jags are still the same old Jags, and they got pounded by the Rams. So I look at that one as maybe a false narrative as to how good the Rams are. I've seen the Rams all year, and they can be had. And the Vikings are a team that can get them if they're not careful. So I think it's a good matchup. I'm going to pick the Rams to win it, but I think that's a game that would be worth watching. That's going to be 8:00 Thursday night on Prime Video. Now, on Sunday, kind of narrowed it down to marquee games that are like notable to watch. And one of which I think is the Giant Eagle game at 1:00 in Philadelphia. And the reason I say that, yes, the Giants are 2-5, but they got a lot of moxie, and they're very dangerous. Jackson Dart is a fighter. This kid, Cam Skattebo, is kind of a throwback to the old school fullback.
Yeah.
And he's looking to run somebody over. And I just look at the Eagles, and I'm like, okay, they can be had. I think they've
Yeah.
shown that very clearly. What's your opinion of this matchup Sunday at 1 p.m.?
This is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the Giants can win this game. They should have won last week if they had a decent kicker.
Yes.
Hopefully they get those kicking issues fixed. There are a lot of great kickers that are sitting at home right now, and the 49ers proved that.
Yeah.
We got a guy off the couch, and he hasn't missed a kick yet. So
Yeah.
I think the Giants can definitely win that game. I don't think Philadelphia are world beaters by any shape or form. They're a good football team. They have some dogs, but their offensive coordinator is struggling right now.
Yeah.
You got too many high quality weapons around him. You got a lot of Lamborghinis on the field. He doesn't know how to drive it.
Yeah.
So now's the time to get them. While he's trying to figure that out, while there's some talks with AJ and everyone in there maybe not 100% happy with certain things, and a lot of people said, look, if you watch that Cincinnati game and saw how Flacco delivered the ball to Chase that many times, he's like, why can't I be featured like that? And other people still ate around him. Wasn't like that the second wide receiver didn't eat. So Philly got some issues, some underlying issues. They're still a great ball club, but Giants, man, they got that moxie. They got that bad taste in their mouth, because I honestly feel like they should have won last week if it wasn't for the kicker missing the kick. So it should be a great matchup. In Philly, they're no pushovers by any shape. So it should be a great NFC East division game matchup.
And added to that, it's a divisional matchup.
Yeah.
So they're just back alley brawls, no matter who it is. That's going to be 1 p.m. on Sunday. That's going to be a marquee game, in my opinion. And also another game that's marquee is Dallas and the Broncos. Nobody figured that the Cowboys would be sitting at this point in the season at 3-3-1 with Dak Prescott, arguably a leading MVP candidate. The only problem is they can't stop a nosebleed. So they have to score 35, 40 points every week to have a shot at winning. They've actually done a pretty good job because they're sitting there at 3-3-1, and they're going to go to Denver, a hot Bronco team at 5-2. Your opinion of this matchup?
Oh man, it's gonna be a great game. I'm favoring Denver at home.
Yeah.
Because of that defense.
Yeah.
And their style of play as well. A lot of these finesse teams that are more flashy and quick scores and all of this stuff, it's different when you get punched in the mouth. It's different when you got a team that's going to run the ball down your throat, play some hard-nosed defense, keep your quarterback on the sidelines, have long drives to sustain and keep their defense resting. It's going to be a great matchup, and it's definitely one that Dallas Cowboys need to make a statement to really show that, hey, all these jokes, the Stephen A. Smiths and everybody making fun of the Cowboys year in and year out. I'm one of them. And we're for real this year. We're going to come in there. We're going to face a physical, great defense and with some star power on the offensive side of the ball as well, and a great coaching scheme. And we're going to beat these guys in their own home on primetime football. So that's going to be interesting to see how the Cowboys show up in a game to where it's starting to elevate to where this is going to be a great matchup, because usually the Cowboys show up when nobody's watching. The games that they should win or they favor them, all right, cool. But in the games when you're facing a real opponent, are you going to lay down and cry? Are you going to really show up and show that, no, this is a different year and we're not playing? So I'm picking Broncos to win at home.
Yeah, I think that's the smart call. I just feel like Dak Prescott has only had one Dak game this year, and it was against the Bears at Soldier Field. I think he threw 2 or 3 picks in that game. That thing very well could have come down to the wire. Matter of fact, they actually could have won it. But outside of that, Dak Prescott's just run right through every defense in the NFL. Every team he's played against, he's done his thing. And I know the Broncos defense is really good. Doesn't seem like it matters to Dak Prescott. Plus, he's got weapons. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, running game pretty good. And Dak's on his game. I mean, I haven't seen anyone this year really slow them down. I mean, they come again, other than that Bear game where Dak kind of gave that one away with mistakes. I don't know. This is going to be a good game, though. To your point, the Broncos are very good on defense, and I'd love to see whether or not they can slow the Cowboys down because they're on fire offensively. Let's go to Sunday night. My boys are on the field in a primetime national game against the Steelers in Pittsburgh at 8:20. Your feeling about what's your vibe on this game, Stu?
Man, this is like a playoff game right here.
Yeah,
This is gonna be a great game. Packers, they're gonna have to bring their breakfast, their lunch, and dinner.
right.
They're gonna be there all night. Steelers got that salty taste in their mouth, and usually well-coached teams after a loss, they come out hard the next game, and they lost to a division foe, and now they have a chance to beat a great team in the Packers. And I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. I think we're going to get some great quarterback play from both sides. It's going to come down to turnovers and defense, I believe. And whoever is able to really establish the run is going to help out, I think, greatly their quarterbacks and open things up down the field. So this is going to be a great matchup. I can't wait to see it.
Well, Packers can't run a ball this year. Josh Jacobs has been okay. He has not been his usual dominant self. And I got a problem with Matt LaFleur. He's just a guy that doesn't make good game time decisions. And too many mistakes are made on the field. We're sitting there at 4-1-1. But he's a head scratcher sometimes. Don't like him in tough situations. Pittsburgh's dangerous. Aaron Rodgers is playing good football this year. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is playing very good football. He takes advantage of his receivers and DK Metcalf. And he's got I forget, I don't know the tight end's name, but he spreads it around pretty good. To your point, this is a playoff atmosphere game. It's a national game on Sunday night. All the eyes of America are going to be on this game.
Yeah.
And so it could go either way. Plus, it's a grudge match. I mean, Aaron was a Packer for the great majority of his career. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame, I would imagine, as a Packer. Depends on how bad Aaron is with the Pack, but he should go in as a Packer. And so here we are. We're playing, our guy. This is our main man. 8:20 on Sunday night. And then lastly, on Monday Night Football, we got the Washington Commanders taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, 8:15 in Kansas City. Now, Stu, I don't know what's going on with the Commanders. Plus, they lost. I don't know how long. Have you heard the latest on the Jaden Daniels injury?
I haven't. That's really the big. If Daniels is out, Commanders don't stand a chance.
No, sir.
So we have to really see the severity of his injury, and I'm really look into that going in because it's been kind of quiet, and we live in the DMV, or I'm in the DMV, and I haven't really heard too much regarding Daniels after being injured. So I'm hoping he's okay. I'm hoping it's nothing too serious. But if he's not playing, they might as well flex this to a 1:00 game on Sunday.
This one could get ugly. You're 100% correct. This one could get ugly, dude, because if Jaden Daniels can't go out there, and it looked bad. The injury looked bad. He had already gotten hurt in the Packer game earlier. I don't think he really fully, in my opinion, recovered from that injury in that game. And then this hamstring tear, if it's a tear, he may be gone for the season.
And you know who their backup quarterback is?
Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. So you know what? He's a decent quarterback. So I'm not taking anything away from Marcus Mariota because he's shown that he can come in there and win a game or two when the main guy is out. So the biggest things with Marcus Mariota is the eligibility. Is Debo playing? and it's McLaurin playing. If Scary Terry and Debo are back, the Commanders got a chance. You know what I'm saying? Because those two are difference makers on the offensive side of the ball, and galvanize that team to get back into playing good football. So that's really, I think that's what it's going to boil down to. I take that back with Marcus Mariota. If he has Debo and Terry McLaurin, it should be a better matchup because the Chiefs are not world beaters. They have a future Hall of Famer quarterback. He's elevating the play of those around him. And Jones on the defensive line, he's just phenomenal. But they can be got matchups and stuff like that. They're not like on every. You look at their receivers, you look at everything. They're just so great. No, they're not that great of it, from that aspect. But they have a great organization, great quarterback, great coaches. They could be got. We've seen it this year so far. I know they're starting to clock in, but if the Commanders can get some of their playmakers back, and if they could play an ounce of defense, that's the biggest issue I've noticed is the Commanders' defense has kind of dropped off the moon somewhere.
Yeah.
If they can get their defense back to playing complementary football and they can get their weapons back, Mariota can run the ball. He has an arm. He can hit Debo. He can hit McLaurin. He can hit McCaffrey. They can utilize those weapons they have around them, and they can make it a tough game. So I wouldn't sleep on them to that aspect. But if Debo and McLaurin are out, I think that's a wrap.
Well, I would say that to the Commanders' defense, pardon the pun, Cowboys been running through everybody. I mean, Cowboys been running through everybody, dude. I know. I think the bigger concern for the Commanders is they couldn't score on the Cowboys. I mean, they had a hard time scoring on that terrible defense. So I'm thinking that's the bigger issue. Did Jaden Daniels go into that game injured? Because they did not look good against the Cowboy defense.
I didn't like the game plan. And at that Cowboys game, Debo was out. Terry McLaurin was out. They still had some playmakers. They still should have been able to make it, compete a little better. But then I went back and you know how things are. I was like, Dak is 7-0 at home against the Commanders. Commanders usually beat Dallas at their home. So when Dallas comes to DC, Commanders usually get that. It's kind of how that division's kind of been lately. So it's one of those things to where if Dallas can do that to Denver, then I'm like, okay. That's why I said this Denver game with Dallas is really big. But if Dallas goes into Denver and lays an egg on primetime TV, then we're going to be back to making the Dak memes and Jerry Jones and all of that stuff. And like Dallas, you guys beating up teams while they're helpless, but you face a real contender and you lay an egg. So that's going to be interesting to see moving forward how that plays out.
Because of the Chicago game, I don't rule out the fact that they can end up laying an egg.
Yeah.
Because, Dak just has those games where he just throws one pick after another. And it's like, what's going on? So
those Romo-ish games.
You just never know when he's going to do that. And
right,
so
right.
I agree with you. I mean, we will find out. And Denver's not a team you want to be fooling around with too much defensively.
Dogs.
So I think this will be a litmus test for Dak because you go up there and you go up to Mile High and light the Broncos up. They're legit.
Yeah.
I'll give them that much if they can do that. So we'll see. I agree. We're gonna find out what they're all about, ladies and gentlemen. You've been watching and listening to the Maurice Brown Show, the NFL edition, with Antoine Real Stewart. It has been a pleasure hanging out with you guys, and I also want to let you know that this show is being seen on kchftv.org out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Also, this show is being brought to you by Magno's Dentistry, which is out of Belo Horizonte, Brazil. And Americans, once again, are flocking to places like Mexico and Brazil for affordable healthcare. And you can definitely get that at Magno's Dentistry and do tremendous work on your teeth. And my wife was there for like 2 months, and we took care of some business over there, and she had a chance to get some dental work there done there. So check them out. The Magno's Dentistry folks bring you the Maurice Brown Show every week here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Also, you can see us on Spotify as well. So, Stu, it's been a great week. Can't wait for next week's games. Your 49ers, Stu, look like they are back. I gotta be totally. What's this? Stu, what is the status on Brock? Did Brock play last week, or was it Mac Jones?
No, it was Mac. Brock he has his turf toe thing. It wasn't to the as severe as Joe Burrow's, but it's one of those things where it's very lingering and inconsistent. Like it could feel good today and not tomorrow, so it's hard to judge it. But the way I look at it is, hey, Mac is being a great backup and winning us games, doing what the coaches are asking him to do. He didn't have to do much last week because it was more of a run game. Just don't turn the ball over too much. So as long as Mac is playing the way he's playing, hey, Brock, rest up, man. Rest up, take your time, get right. I know it's lingering. We don't want you to be rushing to come back. I want you to rest up and let Mac take the wheel, and let's continue to do what we're doing.
Well, let's see what happens this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think there's going to be some more movement in the Power 5 rankings next week, too, because if you really think about it, I'm going to say this, and we're going to get out of here. I can't really identify the top dog for real in the NFL this year. I mean, it's a week-to-week thing. You don't know who's going to get knocked off. And then the teams that you don't expect to be continually dominant are like the Colts, and I don't know what's up with Buffalo. Baltimore's gone. It looks like to me, for all intents and purposes, and the Chargers aren't who we thought they were. They're not that team for real. And so it's going to be interesting. So let's get out of here, and we will see you guys next week. And may the peace of Jesus Christ, everybody, be with you and your families. God bless.